Hey guys, all right, I'm gonna do a video taking this CRKT Foresight apart because I want to show you the IKBS system. IKBS stands for Ikoma Korth Bearing System. This is originally invented / designed for ballad songs. Korth Custom Ballad Songs, it's K-O-R-T-H. They've been around a long time, and I remember when I first got into the ballad song scene, that was one of the customs I really wanted. I wanted a Korth custom, I wanted a Fred Perrin custom, I wanted a 29 Knives custom, the list goes on. In fact, if you want to drool over some amazing custom ballad songs, check out edcknives.com, probably the best source in the world for custom ballies, and plenty of them do sport this Korth system, or excuse me, the IKBS system, because it is a collaboration. But anyway, basically it's a ball bearing system, okay? So what you have is you have a bunch of, well, I'm going to take it apart in a second and show you, but I'm trying to explain it first. There's a bunch of ball bearings, okay, in a circle around your pivot. It's also on both sides of the blade. So the blade is running on these ball bearings, all right? Now the best way I can think to explain this is, when I was growing up, when I was younger, there used to be these places called Discovery Zone. I don't know who remembers that, and I know there's people in different countries watching that probably never heard of it either. But Discovery Zone was a place you went. It was like this massive building, and it was basically a huge jungle gym for kids to play in. Now, I went there for my sister, because she went to like birthday parties there and stuff, but even me being maybe 13 or 14 at the time, I had a ball. It was awesome. You climbed up, you know, the foam steps, and me and my friends used to go in there as teenagers, and we'd throw each other off the side of it, and you go flying, and everything was padded and safe, so you couldn't really hurt yourself. But anyway, in Discovery Zone, there was one of those things. I don't really know what it's called. It's like a line of rollers. Okay, so imagine like a stretch of like a table or something, and there's hundreds of little rollers. Okay, that are independently moving. So, and in fact, you see this, I believe, if you ever went to like UPS store or, you know, places like that, big warehouses. They use these rolling systems, okay, I don't really know the technical term for it, to move stuff. It's really easy because there's less friction, and because I should be drawing a picture or showing you something else, but because some of you guys are just going, what are you talking about? Basically, it's like a table of rollers on there. So you put like a big heavy box on it, and basically you just push it. But there's very minimal effort it takes to move something heavy because it's on these independently moving rollers, okay? They're kind of freely spinning. That's kind of the same concept here. In Discovery Zone, it was angled. So you sat on the top and went, whee, and you went all the way down, like even faster than a slide. You couldn't stop if you wanted to because there's all these independently moving rollers. It's just your body and the slope and everything. You go flying down this thing. It was a lot of fun. But if you've never been to a Discovery Zone, you don't know what I'm talking about. So let me take this apart and just show you. All right, so we're gonna figure out together what Torx bits this takes. You see I love when knife companies do this. It's just another simple, subtle detail, but I love it. All right, this pivot screw is a Torx screw, right? But they leave the presentation side on the front side, okay? There's more righties than lefties out there. No offense, lefties. Your southpaws, you're special, but in a good way. But there's more righties out there, so the right side of a knife is usually the presentation side, you know, the fancy side. But instead of having the exposed head on here, they have the female part. So you just have a nice, round, clean look. I just love that. It's a subtle detail. I've mentioned it before. All those little things add up to me. So anyway, we have a pivot screw, which is a Torx, and I'm good at just looking at it. I'm gonna guess maybe a 6, I don't know, we'll figure it out. And then there's 3 body screws down here. All right, so I'm gonna take this apart and we'll figure out together. All right, the body screws are this thing's so old, I can't even read it, hold on. It's marked on here, but there's rust over it, so I can't read it. Oh, it's T6. No, yes. Yeah, it's a T6. Sorry, it's really hard to read. Actually, here, let's see if you can read it. Oh, that's not fair. It focused right away. Anyway, yeah, T6 for the body screws, so let's take those out. Boom, 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 boom. Should I speed this up? Nah, you got time. you're just hanging out, it's probably like 11 o'clock at night, you got nothing to do, eating a snack, watching YouTube videos, you got the time. Alright, this is a long screw. Alright, so there's our body screws. Oh, this one needs a little more cranking. Okay, so no Loctite from factory. Not always a bad thing. Certainly makes this job easier. Alright, now, I'm going to carefully flip this over. Oh, our backspacer already is falling out, so let me just go ahead and remove that. Put that there. A little piece of aluminum, feels like. Alright, so I think this is a Torx 10. What are the chances this fits? Nope, too big. Okay. By the way, you don't have a Torx set, go get one. This is a Husky one, or excuse me, Cobalt. I forget which, whether it's Home Depot or Lowe's. Actually, I think it's Lowe's owns, or does the Cobalt brand. That's like their brand. Yeah, less than 10 bucks. Get a Torx set, because if you're into knives, you're gonna find a lot of Torx screws you have to mess with. Okay, so what is this? The pivot is a T. All right, let's do this trick, because you guys found out right away. It's right there, and it's rusted. What is that? Let's find out together. It's so fun. I gotta take it off. What the heck? I can't read it. I don't know. Oh, Torx 8. Alright, so a T8 is the size for the pivot. Alright, so here it goes. Alright, so pivot, screw. Then you'll notice there's a rubber O-ring. Okay. For, I guess, a nice seal. That's interesting. It's the first time I saw that. Alright, let's gently lift this up. Wiggle this apart, hopefully. Let's see here. You know what? I'm going to use the Torx driver to push the female, the back side. I can kind of pop it. Maybe, maybe not. No, I'm not going to force anything. Alright. There we go. She's still new. You gotta work her a little bit here. A little wiggling. A little wiggle action. Alright. Flip this over. I don't want to force anything. Alright. One scale popped off, the back scale. Alright, so now we can look at this. It's always interesting to take knives apart, isn't it? As long as you put them back together, right? Okay. So. Kind of an intricate system here. Alright, gotta make sure I put that piece back. Now that was. That rides. Alright. Okay, so, yeah, there's a lot going on in here. Obviously we have our handle scales, which seem to be aluminum. Confirm that on their website. But there's cutouts and inserts here for the liner lock system. Instead of being a full liner, you can see how that is. I don't have to explain it, you're looking at it. Of course you want to take those out. There's just flathead screws here. By the way, now that this is open, we could see at this point, if you wanted to, I'm pausing for a second because I'm noticing that the little ball bearings are all kind of scattered. So I gotta make sure those all go in the right place when I put this back together. But anyway, alright. You can see the pocket clip, 2 flathead screws there if you wanted to remove that. Okay. Now, lots of grease here. And just kind of gawking myself and looking. Alright, so basically what it is, is a bunch of little ball bearings. Okay, you can see it on both sides here. Now they are easily replaceable if you need to replace them, but right now all that that lube and grease is kind of holding everything in place, which is nice. Now all the ball bearings are on the one side, and you can see half are stuck in the blade and half are on my liner here, so I have to be careful putting this back together. If you're a knife novice, this is not probably a task you want to go ahead and grapple. Maybe not for your first time anyway, because there's certainly a lot going on here. But you can see how that works there. So the friction isn't necessarily on the blade, it's on all these tiny little balls that independently rotate by themselves, okay? So it makes for a nice smooth action. Now that pin, or rod, whatever you want to call it, that goes in both of the holes here. You can see right, scoop my finger up, right there, it's on the same side, and it goes through the cutout in the blade here in this track. Okay, so it rides in that track. That also, I believe, is going to be your blade stop. So, let's put this back together. Alright, let me make sure everything's cool here. Move these out of the way. Yeah, this is going to be one of the more complex knives to take apart and put back together. But still fascinating. Now, I never owned a balisong with the IKBS system in there, but I have heard that they are just awesome. Just can't touch it as far as the how smooth they are. Alright, so I'm very gently putting that back like that. Okay. Very gently. Alright, I'll put the back spacer in separately. Just slowly wiggling everything back together how it should be. And I want to make sure, it's so hard doing stuff behind a camera too, it certainly adds a layer of difficulty and frustration, but that's not completely in there, so I want to mumble to myself while you guys are watching me fiddle. Fiddler on the roof. Alright, I think I'm going to unlock this. That makes things, yes it does actually. So now that fit completely flush, that helped the assembly. See our female's back all the way in there. Ready to put our O-ring back in. Yeah, if you were to take this apart, I mean, thank God there's lots of grease and stuff on there. It does help with everything. You would want to keep this particular type of knife very well lubricated for the obvious reason there. But I can imagine like you open this knife up and like all those teeny tiny little balls go flying everywhere. You go, what? What was that? Because some knives you take apart and they are simple, and some knives are more complex. So people say, why is that so expensive? Well, it's pretty involved. Alright, before I tighten everything down, I'm going to open this up. Nice lock up there. Put our back spacer back in. Make sure all those holes are lined up properly. Man, this is messing my back up. I'm leaning over. See, when I do the videos, I have the camera. Obviously, the camera's right there. Hello. But it's on a tripod, and I have to like bear hug the tripod, and it's just awkward. Anyone who makes videos in this style knows what I'm talking about. But anyway. Alright. Get one of these started here. Just tedious. This stuff isn't hard to do. It's just tedious, and if you're someone who gets easily frustrated, certainly not for you. A lot of you out there probably don't want to even attempt taking this apart. That's why I'm making the video, hopefully so you don't have to, but it does kill your curiosity. Alright, let me Try to focus. Focus, man, focus. Just want to get one of them started so I have something to kind of pivot on. But it is a pain in the butt. Oh, well, that's interesting. All right, well that's good. See, these are the kind of things you can't really, you have to figure out yourself, but now that you're watching the video, you can figure it out. There's actually threads in the handle scale itself. It's not just holes, it's tapped. All right, so you can't push that screw down. You have to actually screw into the handle first, which is nice. This actually adds, that's probably why there's not Loctite on it. It adds that extra, you know, security of the screw not coming out. I really like that. That's a nice touch. I don't think I've ever noticed that on another knife. Usually there's a hole completely drilled in there and then it screws in, you know, it's usually tapped on the back scale or something. This really does add the a little layer of coolness, I suppose. That's not the right one. What am I doing? Why didn't you guys tell me that was the wrong one? Come on, you just gotta watch. Not gonna help me out at all. Throw me a bone, man. All right, now that I can actually kind of see what's going on here, kind of a little bit. There we go. All right. Just want to, yeah, there we go. All right, just want to start this on the back handle. Not going to tighten that all the way, but at least I have something where it's actually pivoting where it's supposed to be so I can line up the other holes properly. But I'm not going to tighten that all the way. All right, now we push this backspacer out. All right, so I can see what I'm working with here. Let's go in order. Let's do this one next. It's kind of weird when you do stuff like this. Normally you don't talk out loud. You just kind of do it quietly. But making a YouTube video, and it'd be a little strange to have the silence, be an awkward silence, wouldn't it? Oh, beautiful. Don't you love when something just goes your way? You try something and it actually works. You don't have to keep playing around. That went right where it was supposed to go. And that means the last one is probably ready to go. I'll put it on here first. Okay. Man, these are long screws. Yeah, I really like that, how it's tapped and there's threads through the handle scales. I mean, it's on both scales. And it's gripping in a lot of areas. I suppose that's why it's not necessary to put Loctite on there. All right, so now I'm gonna tighten these. You wanna hand tighten them. You obviously don't wanna strip them. So right when you think, oh, that's pretty tight, just stop. You don't need much more than that. All right, because if you start stripping these, you're gonna get mad at yourself that you ruined the knife and it's gonna bother you. All right, let's see. Actually, they can go a little bit more. There's a little gap there. Now that I picked the knife up and turned it. What the heck? Did I mention you should get a Cobalt Torx bit set? How the quality is awesome. Still works. I just lost my grip. Oh wow, that's bad. Tool still works fine. I had a little gap there. I don't like that. Didn't seem like. Oh, there we go. Didn't seem like. Well, it seemed like they were nice and tight, but it wasn't lined up, I suppose. There we go. So now I'm talking about. Okay. Now our pivot. Oh yeah, I didn't tighten that yet. So let's swap our bits. I mean, gonna need this little bit right here. I wonder with the IKBS if I can really crank that down, if that's gonna make a difference or not. Yes, it will. So I got to back off a little bit, just a hair. It's not like having the bushing system, like in a Sebenza or something. You'd have to fiddle with it a little bit. But beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, well, you know what I just realized? I'm an idiot. I put these screws in backwards. Hey, you live and you learn, right? That's why I still have a gap here. I don't understand, because it was closing and it felt good and I tightened everything and all of a sudden, bleep. That's because this side is not tapped. Actually, all right, that totally makes sense now. What an idiot. What an idiot I am. The front side is like every other knife I've ever noticed. It's just a hole. The back side has threads. That's why, that totally makes sense now. Hey, I goofed. What can I say? I'm human. We're learning together. Actually, you're just watching and laughing. But that's okay. I don't mind. Let's do one here so everything's still in line. I'm thinking, that doesn't feel right. Kind of feels like it's loose. Oh, much better. I feel both those handles coming together. Yeah. Okay. You guys with me still? Or just slap your forehead, shake your head, and change the channel. Hey, give me a break, you know? Never took this knife apart before. These friggin' screws are so long. Why are they... I can't complain. They're doing their job. They're just long enough. It's not like there's extra screw hanging out or anything. It's just because I'm making a video. It feels like I'm wasting your time when you watch me screw something down for 40 seconds. Perfect. One more, folks. Bear with me. One more. I'm getting finger fatigue. Oh wow, I just looked at my view thing. Has that always been oh my god, was that fuzzy for like 10 minutes while I'm talking? If it was, I'm sorry. Alright, last one. We're almost there. Hang with me. We're almost there. Come on. Come on, screw. My fingers are actually getting tired from twisting. It's pretty bad. Alright. Okay, that one's good. That one's beautiful. And we got the trifecta. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Nice and solid. No gaps. Beautiful. Now, I want to adjust my pivot a little bit. It's just a little snug. It's in the snug department. Yeah, so it's a little tip. You can't just crank it down all the way. You need to kind of feel the tension there. And still just a little bit too tight, because this baby is smooth as glass when it is adjusted properly. Some fiddling. And I wonder if you can get a bushing in there so you don't have to play with the tension there. If you can just crank it down every time and have that perfect space, but then still ride on the ball bearings. I don't know. Yeah, I think I found the sweet spot. A little more. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, lockup's perfect. Nothing vertical at all. Nothing horizontal. Perfect. Nice and smooth. What a beautiful knife. Felt great like 3 minutes ago. I just like opening and closing it. So thanks for watching that. You can see the use on it already since I've gone and I've been playing around with it. And it stinks because with the black coating, you can't really just kind of wipe it, the fingerprints off and stuff. I mean, there's smudges from me cutting stuff already. But totally into this knife. It's just really cool. This is, you know, it's like a lot of different knives. I wish you guys can just stick your hand through your computer screen and feel it and go, yeah, I like that, I'm gonna get one. You know, sometimes it's so hard to really get a knife. I mean, a lot of you guys, and there's nothing wrong with it, I do the same. Sometimes you just look at a knife and say, that's cool, I want one. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be this big complex thing. It doesn't have to be that you understand metallurgy, you know, and physics, and okay, this is the perfect weight for you because you carry X amount of goodies every day in your EDC and blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you just say, hey, that looks cool, I want one. Nothing wrong with that. We're all guilty of pulling that little number. And that's fine. It's a cool looking knife, in my opinion. But cool is definitely an opinion. I have to say, the more I look at the pocket clip, the more I like the function of it, but it's kind of looking a little goofy to me, and it's starting to remind me of Hitler's mustache. It's just, I don't know. But shouldn't take it away from the knife. The knife is still amazing. Ah, it's beautiful. Beautiful and tight. And with the parts put in properly like they should be, everything's just fine and dandy. Let's look at that rounded spine again. It's nice. What's cool, it's so black, you can't see anything. Hold on. Grab my EDC. Alright. There we go. Shed a little light. Actually, a little tip, if you're doing a video like this and you're trying to pour light on there, there's too much reflection because most of our flashlights are just too awesome. And there's even like the low mode on this little Creon is just too much light. Medium is just ridiculous, and high, who are we kidding, right? So let's put it back on low, but low is just too much. So what you gotta do is you gotta pull your hand back like 4 feet. No, obviously my arm's not 4 feet long. Pull it back about, I wanna say about 13 inches. I'm gonna say that's a good estimate. And you see how I get a nice light in there? But there's what you're looking at right there. I'll only put it back like this. Is the that's the lock face. Okay, that's where your liner lock is rubbing. So you see a little bit of oil there, and you see from the top down. So if you're looking from here down, that's where the lock is coming in. So the lock is like over here, and as your blade opens, it goes click and moves over. So you see where the coating has been taken off a little bit from the rubbing. And you can actually see how early the lockup is by the wear on there, which is cool. You know, you get that perspective on there, and you can see the cut as well. So, for anyone who's interested, here's the lockup. Okay, so it does lock up early, not tremendously early. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, because stuff like this doesn't always bother me, honestly. I mean, I've never had a problem with a decent quality liner lock, but some people really want to know these details. But early, basically, when this locks, the more left it is, it's the simplest way I can put it, the more left it is, the earlier it is. And if it locks up, like if this bar keeps moving to the right, that's a late lockup. If it's all the way over, people, what they're trying to find when they have their liner locks, and I think more particularly frame locks, but they want an early lockup, meaning that they want this bar to be all the way left because they want it to be able to wear right. As you use a knife, it's gonna, you know, the metal on metal is gonna scrape the bottom of that, and they want plenty of time for that to be open and closed thousands of times before this lock goes all the way over and perhaps goes too far over where it's not holding that blade properly anymore, you know, or creates some kind of a blade play, a vertical play that you can't adjust with that pivot pin or pivot screw. So Maybe I'll do a more in-depth video on this in the future, but I just want to briefly mention that because I know some of the younger people or some people new to knives, they are hearing those terms, you know, early lockup, late lockup. They don't know what people are talking about. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Pretty cool. Yeah, just that rounded spine is pretty sweet. So that's it. Just some knife talk and a little bit of disassembly and reassembly. Perfect. Feels great. Cuts well. Looks sexy. And I like it. And my tool broke, kinda. Don't really need that. Yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna put my tools away. But yeah, I like the knife. I think it's pretty cool. And I can't wait to use it some more and do some vigorous testing. And then eventually I'll do a review for you guys. I have a lot of other knives I'm going to be reviewing. In fact, there's 2 other CRKT knives that I am going to review very soon because I've been using them. Actually, one I have not been using them because it's strictly a defensive blade. So I'm going to review it as such and without any cutting. Maybe I'll do a cut demo just for the video, but it's one of those things where you don't need to know about edge retention, you don't need to know about geometry, you just need to know that it's sharp because this is something that's solely going to be used for defense. So, can you guess what that is? It's a CRKT, and well, I'll give you an easy clue that's gonna, you know, give it away, but it comes with an ankle rig, so you can wear it on your ankle. But, if you still don't know, it'll be fun for you to find out soon when I do that review. In addition to that, I also have another knife that I've always loved. It's an oldie but goodie from CRKT that I want to review, and I got a hold of one, and you will see that review soon, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.